I will ask it to create a full stack to-do app. And while that runs, welcome to the video. In this video, we are going to build our AI coding agent similar to Cloud Code. We are going to keep it simple. It's going to run on terminal. So it has finished creating the to-do app. Now I'll ask it to run it. And it's giving me this URL. Let's open it in the browser. So there it is, our to-do app created by our own coding agent. Our coding agent is very simple. It's hardly 220 lines of code. It doesn't compare to something like Cloud Code. This is going to be very simple. Our goal here is to learn how to build AI agents. So by the end of the video, you will be able to create AI agents on your own. So what is AI agent? Most people think AI is just a chatbot. You give it a prompt, it generates some text, and the loop is dead. But AI agents are completely different. They run in a loop and they can also perform actions in real world. Now let's see an example. Assume ChatGPT is a basic chatbot with GPT 5.6 as a LLM in the backend. So I asked it to create full stack to do app, and it's giving me all this code which I'll need to manually copy in my local development. And it also gave me these instructions which I'll need to follow. Now I'll need to do these things manually, right? If I ask same thing to AI coding agent like Codex or Cloud Code, then it will do things for me. I don't have to do all this manually like ChatGPT is asking here to do. Also, here I asked it to run it, but it can't run because it's just a chatbot. If you ask Codex to run it, then it will open up the URL with to do app in it. So how can AI agent perform actions? To build AI agents, you need to understand this agent loop. It's also called React pattern, not the front end library React.js. React here means reason plus action. So reasoning part is being done by Agent Brain LLM. Some examples are GPT 5.6, Cloud Opus 4.8. Those are the LLMs. LLMs can't perform actions directly. For that, we need tool calling. So you can provide tools to agent and LLM will decide what tool to run next. So user will give agent a goal and that goal will be passed via agent loop to LLM. And then LLM will decide what actions I need to perform to achieve this goal. And those instructions will be passed on to agent loop. Agent loop will run those tools which are given by LLM, and after running those tools the result will be passed again via agent loop to LLM, and this loop will keep running until the goal is achieved. And agent also has memory, so it doesn't forget what it did 3 steps ago, so it doesn't do same actions in infinite loop. And RAG means we can provide relevant context to agent. These are 4 superpowers of AI agents. Now, it's not necessary that all the agents will have all 4 of these superpowers. For example, not all the agents are multi-agent system, right? So first one is tool use or function calling. We already saw it here, tool calling in the agent loop, and standard LLMs only knows what it was trained on. So LLM have a knowledge cutoff date, right? So you remember I told you that ChatGPT is just a basic chatbot, but that's not entirely true. It also has tool calling, so it can fetch live internet data, or in this case, it has also a tool to fetch weather data. I asked it what is weather in Mumbai, so it's giving me live temperature. Now, if I ask same question to GPT-5 LLM directly without any tool calling, then it's not able to fetch weather data. And this is Vercel AI Gateway. We can use multiple models from here. It's similar to Open Router. And if we run a model from here directly, then it doesn't have access to tool calling. Also, I asked same thing to open source model GLM 5.2, which is launched recently. And on Hugging Face, here we don't have access to tool calling. We can add tool calling to this model, but it's not available here. So it's not able to fetch any weather data. Second superpower is agent memory, which we already saw here in agent loop. So agents don't immediately forget who you are. They manage two types of memory. One is short term memory, which is like immediate context for what's going on, and one is long term memory. Long term memory saves your preferences and historical data across the sessions, which can even be weeks apart. Third one is self reflection and correction. If an agent hits error, it doesn't just quit. It uses producer and critic setup. One part of the agent builds the output while the other critic component audits the work against strict criteria. It forces agent to keep trying again if it fails. Last we have multi-agent system. So instead of having one agent which does everything, we have multiple agents which collaborates with each other. So just like a company has multiple team and multiple people under single team which all collaborates with each other, we do the same thing with agents as well. And we do this to save the context. We don't want to put huge amount of information in our context. If we do that, then LLM will just hallucinate. And this is difference between a workflow and AI agent. So workflow has predetermined path and developer has more control over a workflow than AI agent. AI agent is more dynamic. So we don't know what will be done next by AI agent. LLM decides what needs to be done and it will do anything to achieve the goal which is given by user. Now, AI agent can be a part of workflow and a workflow can be part of AI agent as well. So let's start building our AI coding agent. I'm not going to type the code manually. That's old school. I was using GitHub Copilot Preview in 2021. That's even before ChatGPT was released. And after Cloud Code release, I hardly write code manually anymore. The AI writes code. I design the architecture, I write the prompts, I review the output, and I decide what gets merged. I will use Google Anti-Gravity here. You can go with Codex or Cloud Code and it should be fine. Even if you are mostly vibe coder and don't fully understand the code yet, you can still follow along, but it's gonna be little hard for you. But it gets exciting when it's hard. Anyway, I do expect that you have at least used a coding agent before and you can build simple apps with it. This isn't going to be another how to use Cloud Code tutorial. We are here to learn how to build AI agents. Now, you could simply ask your coding agent to build a coding agent and it will probably do a good job, but you won't understand why it works. So instead of jumping straight to the final project, we are going to build it step by step. So forget about coding agent first. We will build basic chatbot which runs in a terminal. Now for AI agents, we need to have access to LLM. There are many ways to access LLM. You could just call OpenAI API using HTTP requests. There is nothing wrong with that. But once you start building real agents, you will quickly need things like tool calling and structured JSON output and response streaming and response validation. OpenAI SDK already handles a lot of this for us, so we will use it instead of reinventing the wheel. You could also use Cloud or Google Gemini SDK. or maybe LangChain for this if you want. I will be using OpenAI SDK because it's one of the most popular options and it's well documented. And also, it gives us everything we need to build production ready AI agents. And you are not locked into OpenAI models. You can use Gemini, other open source model, or other providers that support OpenAI compatible API. So even though we are using OpenAI SDK throughout this video, almost everything you will learn transfers directly to other providers and frameworks. Okay, I have hidden my beautiful face so you can focus on the code. I'm running this prompt, create very basic terminal chatbot using OpenAI SDK. I hope it's clear why we used that prompt. And for this, we will need OpenAI API key, which you can get from platform.openai.com. And you will need to add some credit balance. I think minimum is $10, which you can load, which should be more than enough to follow along this video. So you can create your API key here and copy it. So let's go back to anti-gravity. It has created this implementation plan and looks like it's going to be using Python for this. You can also use Node.js if you are more familiar with Node.js. Node.js also has OpenAI SDK NPM package, and it also has almost all the functionality of Python. We just need tool calling here. So I have pasted my OpenAI key here and I will ask it to start implementation. You see here implementation plan mentions the while true loop. If you remember that from the presentation, agent loop. Okay, it has finished and now I'm running it. So let's say hi. It's working, I guess. So I'll say my name is Maulik and now I will ask what's my name. So it has short-term memory so it can remember what was said before. If we close this and run it again, it won't remember it because memory is being stored in messages array. LLMs doesn't remember what we discussed before, so each time we make a call to LLM, we must pass entire chat history. So that's why we have this messages array. So let's see the code. It's loading the env file. From there, it's taking my OpenAI secret key. And here you can see in OpenAI SDK, you can initialize it by using API key and base URL. So if you are using another provider, so for example, here it's showing Vercel AI Gateway, you can use another provider like OpenRouter with OpenAI SDK as well. And you just need to get your API key from OpenRouter. So this is our agent loop. While true means it's running in infinite mode and it will exit if user types exit or quit. And this messages array will store our memory. So it will store entire chat history. And the first element is system instruction in it. We will change the system instructions later. So in the agent loop, first we will take the user input. So you type something and it gets added to the messages array after system instruction. So here role is user. So it means input provided by the user. And then we pass that messages array to this OpenAI completions API. And it also has model, which model we are using. It's using GPT-4o mini for now. And after response is generated by OpenAI API, it gets stored again in the messages array and the role will be assistant and the content will be whatever is the response from LLM. In this case, GPT-4o mini. So let's print the messages array so you get better idea. So I'll have to restart this. Let's say hi. You see, the first one is the system instruction. In the messages array, first element is system instructions, then it is what you typed. So role user content is hi. Then it's the response from assistant. Hello, how can I assist you today? So it's response from LLM. Let's ask it what's in this folder. So it's saying I can't access files or folder on your device. Now it doesn't have any tool to list files. That's why it can't read any files. It's just a basic chatbot without any tool access. Now let's ask it to add a tool for listing files in a directory. So let's run it. So let's ask it what's in this folder. You see it has made a tool call and the response from the tool call is being passed to LLM. So LLM can respond with the files and folders in this directory. So you see it has created this list files in a directory function which takes the directory path for which to list the contents. Now you don't have to understand how this function works, but just know that it will list all the files and folder in a directory. And we also have new tools array which has the function name and function description, and it also contains the properties, I mean the parameters which it can accept. So it has directory path, which is self-explanatory. So now we have two while loops. One is for the user input and one is for the tool calling. So this tools array which contains the function name, description and its parameter details will be passed in this completions API. Now LLM knows what tools are available and it will respond accordingly if it needs to invoke any tool which are available. And here we just have condition that if tool call is detected, like if LLM needs to do a tool call, then it will do it here. So tool call will run locally. It won't run on OpenAI server. It will run on your laptop where agent is running. So let's add one more tool to read the file contents. So it has created this read file content function just like list directory function which we created earlier. And it also added this into the tools array which we pass along with the completion API. So this code is updated. You see it has the if conditions to check for the tool name and it will call that function accordingly. And the tool calls also get appended to messages array. So LLMs can remember what tools were called in past. And that tool call has the role of tool and name and content. Content means the response from the tool call, the result of the function call. So then LLM can see, oh, this tool call was done and this is the output of that function. And then it can respond accordingly. So I'm asking what's in this, what this project is about. Now, AI didn't get that I was referring to current directory, so I will mention it. So now it has listed the files and folders in current directory, and then it's checking the README file. So it has made two tool calls. First one to list the files, and the second one is to read the file content for the README file. So this is the response from README file tool call, and in the end, it mentions that the project allows users to interact with chatbot directly through the terminal, which is accurate. So I will print the messages array here so we get better idea of how it's working in background. So I am saying hi, and then I will ask what project is in current folder. So it made a tool call to list files in directory, and the argument is default argument with dot. So dot means current folder. It didn't call the read file, so I will ask what it does. And again, it didn't call read file here. So the last line mentions that it can check the readme file and chatbot.py file. So I will say yes, check it, and it seems like it finally made tool call to read the files and describe what it does. So I'll copy this messages array and we will view it on JSON viewer. So the first element is system instruction. Next I said hi, so it's role user with because I typed it, that's why it's role user. And then reply from LLM is role assistant. Then again I typed what project is in current folder, so it's role user. And now assistant didn't give any message, so content is empty, and it provided us tool call, so it wants to make a tool call here, and the function name is list files in directory. Argument is empty because it just needs to use the default argument, which is dot for current folder. And in the agent loop we run that tool because tool was given by LLM, so we add it to the messages array, and in the content we store the result of that function call. So now we will pass this entire messages array up till now to LLM via OpenAI messages.completion API. LLM will respond us with details of current folder contents. And then I asked it what it does, and it gave another response which was asking me if it should read the readme file and chatbot file, to which I said yes. And LLM gave us tool calls. So these are two tool calls for reading the file content of a readme file, and also another tool call to read file content of chatbot.py file. And now our agent loop will call readme file content function for both of these files, and it will add the result of that into our messages array. And we will again call the OpenAI messages.completions API, and here is the final response from LLM which describes what the project does after checking readme.md file and chatbot.py file. Okay, now I'm going to add a tool call to run terminal commands. Now after adding this, if we can run terminal commands, then we don't need separate tool call to read a file and list the folder contents, because if you have access to terminal, then you can run ls command to list the folder contents, and you can use cat command to read the file as well. So I am going to be removing read file and also read directory content tool. Okay, so it has added this new function to run terminal command, and it has timeout of 30 seconds. So command will only run for 30 seconds before timing out. we might need to remove it because npm install command takes long, and it also has limit of max characters of 50,000, so it will only output 50,000 characters into llm, so it doesn't spend too much money, and we also save the context. So most llms have about 1 million tokens of context window, but they start hallucinating after we cross the 300,000 mark. Okay, so I'm going to run this and ask it to create full stack to do app. Okay, so this npm install react scripts has been running since long and it has timed out after 30 seconds. It might not run, so let's see. I'm asking it to run it. Let's see what it does. Okay, so now it's running npx create react app, but it requires the user interaction. We need to give it yes input, otherwise it doesn't work. So it also timed out. So again, it's trying npx create react app. So again, it timed out. So now it's asking us to manually do this, which is not acceptable output from a coding agent, right? So I will just ask it to remove tool calling time limit, which is 30 seconds right now. I'll ask it to remove it. But still it's not going to work because it's running some commands which requires user interactions. So for that I will also update the system instructions and ask it not to run those commands. Just to show you what I mean, I have run this command which our AI coding agent was trying to run. Now you see here it's waiting for user interaction. I need to press Y here and press enter, then only it will continue. So we can't let the agent run this type of commands because it can't type the yes here currently. So yeah, let's update the system instructions and ask it not to run these commands. So here is our messages array and I am updating the system instructions here, as you can see. So I'll just say you are a smart coding agent who has access to run terminal commands. Make sure you only run commands which doesn't require users permission or users interaction. So let's try this. First I will delete these files which are created by our older version of coding agent to start from scratch, and I'll ask it again to create full stack to do app in current folder, make new to do folder and do everything in it. Okay, so it's creating all these files and seems like it has finished. So I'll ask it to run it. And it's using port 3000, but I have something else running on port 3000 in the Docker. So I'll just ask it to change the port. So it has opened this URL for me, but it's it's not a to do app. So now let's tell it that it's not to do app. But we have one more issue here, that the to do app is running, so we can't type a new prompt here. It's blocking. So I'll restart the coding agent and prompt it again. Now it's not going to remember what happened in the previous session because our memory is in the array and the array gets destroyed each new session. So I will have to tell it that our to do app is in the to do folder. So seems like it's acting dumb. Can you tell what is the issue here? Can you tell why it's not working? So the issue is with our model. We are using GPT-4o mini and we need to change it because that's very old model and it doesn't work good with coding. Here we will just use GPT 5.4. So I have deleted old to do folder and I am asking here again to create full stack to do app in to do folder. So I noticed again it's trying to run npm install, but it requires the user permission and our agent is not able to interact with terminal. So let's update the system instructions. So I made it more direct. I'll restart the coding agent and let's delete to do folder and ask it to create full stack to do app again. Okay, it has finished. I'll ask it to run it. So again, it's using port 3000 and it failed. So it's automatically trying 3001. So now I'll open this URL from here and see if it works. Okay, cool. Here is our to-do app. So that's the use of system instructions. You got practical lesson here. I restarted our coding agent because I couldn't type as that process was running for to-do app. So I'll update the title of to-do app to Maulik's to-do app because it's my to-do app. I created it using my own coding agent. You see how simple it is to make AI coding agent by just giving LLM access to the terminal. Now this is not a perfect coding agent. Our goal here was to just learn how to build AI agents. So looks like it has finished updating the title and I will run it again. Go to Chrome and refresh and it's updated. So this is it for our quick start of how to build AI agents. I'll be making more videos on prompt engineering, RAG, tool calling, memory, different models, Hugging Face, Open Router, and also multi-modal agent, MCP, Git and GitHub and other practical stuff. So stay tuned.